Hello again. So I wanted to go over comments on YouTube. I mentioned the issues with ghosting and other stuff, but also um, people generally project themselves. I mentioned this with the actress in Kiev. The walk I think it's very interesting if you don't know about these kind of things to watch that video and think about it and see if you can see it in your own experiences. So the comments, I will go over some negative comments, for example, from ruble collectors, but also some nut job about my video about women in Ukraine, how they look, behave, like making selfies, etc. That's very typical of Ukraine. I see it here quite a bit, and in Poland or Netherlands, really not, or almost not. So her view, it was pretty nice. I thought, I must be a woman. Yeah, walking by the room. It's normal male behavior. I mean, if you're a man, then you like to look at an attractive woman. That's just built in. Denying that is stupid. It's denying reality. I will go over some comments. Here, someone says something wrong, which is that it's behind it is an American Bradley armored vehicle. No, it's not, because it doesn't fit the vehicle and it has a V on it at like 7 seconds. So it's here like this. This is not a Bradley. There are differences here at the front, and you can see that it's not correct. So what's else? Well, doesn't matter. Okay, captured a year and a half ago, right? So this guy's antisocial. You see it already from the law. This is a ruble collector, very probably. Could be someone from right wing, like in right wing in the USA. You have some sections who are nutters who are supporting Putin and his buddies. In the Netherlands as well, you have these same idiots on the right wing. On the left wing, not, but the left wing is different, crazy in other ways. I think all politicians are bad, by the way. I mentioned once with a guy who came to the door. He wanted a signature for something and said, okay, I'll sign up for this. This is a good cause, but I'm not interested in politics. I'm not going to be part of your party. It was a socialist party. Because, it doesn't matter which you choose. They're always doing what they want, and which is wrong, and they're never doing what they promised they would do. And I said, the people who are who want to be in politics are people who should not be allowed to be in politics. Okay, this comments also antisocials, a ruble collector, a Russia supporter, which means you're crazy. It's like being some guy murdered another guy or woman, and you say, yeah, that's a good guy. No, he isn't. He's a nut job. Olden Rusina, but I guess Kiev likes to leave. Yeah, he doesn't speak proper English. This is not a typo. Could be a ruble collector or some supporter. There are some countries where they support Russia. Some people. Like in India or something, and they'll bring up something. Yeah, in the 1970s, Russia supported us, whereas others didn't. Blah blah blah. You're a nut job if you consider that logical. So, this murderer helped my father in my youth, therefore he's okay. No, he's not. Leave in garbage. And I made points. No, they destroyed enemy vehicles. No point in polishing them. Yes. Let's see, what is this? That's the interest in scrap. That is correct, but this is a street. People walk along it. They go to their work, etc. So they're not standing still to watch it. If it's in a square, then you have much more chance that people go watch it, which I wrote here, which you see with the video from Kamianets Podilsky as well, and the other video where I talk about the actress and go to the restaurant Kniazy Grad, laughing ass off. This is a ruble collector, antisocial. There's no point in laughing. This is a truly antisocial person. Psychopath, well, not necessarily psychopath, but he's antisocial. And I will show you something interesting, namely a comment that is not visible unless I click on here, this one. American bastards. I'm not an American, you moron. Let's look at the comments. Yeah, okay. Now look at all comments, right? And it's gone. It's not visible. It's only visible if you click on the icon of his channel, go to the comments, and then see the comments. This is a simple antisocial person. Of course, to be a supporter of Russia who is doing immoral things, war crimes, raping, pillaging, attacking another country for no reason at all, giving all sorts of nonsense reasons, then you have to be some sort of antisocial person or emotion poor. With Times Radio, for example, there's this guy called Brian Dimery, and this guy is, I'm pretty sure from all his comments, he's emotion poor, which means he sees commenting as a sort of job and doesn't think anything more about it. But these are actually antisocial, these kinds of people. These as well. If you laugh about people dying, this is serious, you Nazi. I always reverse arguments. You are an evil Nazi, we know that, now pee off. And I made some comments like this, what are the requirements to become a Russian propagandist? And most of you have shoes with Velcro, right? Which of course is a reference to their intelligence, because shoelaces are just too difficult. More Ukrainian propaganda. This is simple. You can't really tell much about this one comment, but he is of course a ruble collector. Slava Russian? No, they're toast. This one is correct. Ukrainian propaganda, calling it Ukrainian propaganda, whereas Russians would have taken Kiev in 2 weeks is what they wished, but they were already expelled after a short time. Here, simple. This one gives a thumbs down. Why? Yeah, because he's a ruble collector. There's no other point. And we know what you think about, so no need to tell us. Okay, now go to another video. Let's see, which was it? With a few comments. This one. This is about some military vehicles mainly that were captured in 2014. Russia's vehicles captured in 2014. Yeah, this is of course, this is also a ruble collector. As if that's bad. No, the point of these vehicles, which were already on show in 2016 when I visited the museum beneath Rodina Mat, outside they were showing these vehicles, is that the Russians were supplying the separatists in 2014 already. There are vehicles with part numbers of parts that were from 2014 and later, so they were recently supplied by the Russians, which means they were actively involved. Let's see, one says the correct answer is 2021. That's not actually true, it's 2014. The point of these vehicles showing it is what I mentioned. This guy is antisocial, like talking about dead Ukrainians and with smileys. This is antisocial behavior. Russian liar, this is of course complete nonsense number. And show that I have an antisocial personality. Yeah, if you use smileys in such a person about someone who gets attacked, then you are antisocial. Let's see, something else. So it's not about, I wanted to make this also about, this was more recent. So about an observation that I made. I got a really stupid comment about it. And that shows again that people use their own mindset to make comments. Of course, the ruble collectors do this as well. They talk about Ukraine as being the problem, whereas Russia is the problem. It's always reversing. So this guy, Stefano Maniscalci 4983, made stupid comments about it. I could not see it until I went into YouTube studio, and then I saw why. Because he used all kinds of words against me, blah blah blah, this and that, you are this or that, blah blah. You can't show people Ukrainian women. Why not? This is life. This is what happens. I made a video. It was about, actually, I started with the streets. About, there was some equipment. It's a little bit back, equipment to make the asphalt roads. There was a new asphalt road, small piece, not so long road. It was new. There was this equipment to flatten the asphalt or to lay the asphalt. Yeah, to lay the asphalt. It was to lay it, not the one with the rollers. And then I started filming, showing a bit of daily life in Chernivtsi, in Ukraine. Could have been in any city. I saw this woman like making selfies on the way to just a shop. And I thought, yeah, that's typical that I see in Ukraine, which I don't see in Poland or the Netherlands, for example. And it's about women, looking at themselves, making some pictures, but also making sure some use it as a mirror to do makeup or something like that. And I thought it's amusing in the sense that it's very unusual. This guy is making all sorts of comments about sexual nature, blah, blah, blah. Man, you're crazy. This is about observation, about how people behave differently in different countries. And I found it interesting, as I mentioned, that this is typical for Ukraine. And I don't see so much in other countries. And it is, of course, connected to the fact that in Ukraine, women just do more effort to look nice. You could see it in the video about Rudina Mat. Let's see. I showed only a small bit, but I saw her and I thought, weird that someone comes in what looks like an evening dress to go to see the statue from which the emblem was removed. What stands out? Yeah, this woman. It's like an evening dress. I said, wow. You would not see that with a naked back. You would not see that in Poland. You wouldn't see that in the Netherlands. In general, women dress differently. This is an exception, but as I mentioned with the videos on how people are different in Ukraine versus Poland. So the woman in the bus with whom I talked about life in Ukraine versus Poland. She lived in Poland since quite a few years, I think 9. She said people in Poland are not as happy in their expression, at least, as Ukrainians. And that's what I felt as well when walking around Kiev. I showed a little bit about it. The atmosphere is just different when walking in Kiev, for example, or other cities, compared to walking around in Poland. In Poland, it's like you're surrounded by grumpy people. It's just different. And women are more obvious they stand out more than men, obviously, because also they use more clothes to show, to look nice. I mean, men don't really do that. If men would do that, then it would also be interesting, but I did not really see that. The issue, what I wanted to sell. So this guy was giving me stupid comments, and I thought, okay, you're making no useful contribution at all. You can criticize me. You can say, well, this is stupid because. But if you're going to make all sorts of insinuations which don't make any sense, from my previous videos, you can see that it's complete bullshit what he's talking about. I'm not interested in superficial things. I'm making just observations about life and how people are different in different countries. And what I wanted to go next to is, why does this guy do this? So it's not that he says something about me. What he actually says, so about Ukrainian women, I observe a bit. From a distance, she's not recognizable, whatever, there's no problem with it. What is going on is he projects his own personality. He has a dirty mindset and he projects it onto other people. He assumes what I and other people think. No, he's wrong. He's a moron. He's antisocial. He's antisocial because the more antisocial you are, the more you apply this, and all the other comments show this as well. He is an antisocial person, and I want to go to this article. I mentioned it in the video about the actress that I dated quite a few years ago in Kiev. Let's see. Projection. So it's about. She said some things about me which were wrong, which were completely nonsense, and I mentioned that it was this by Freud, namely that he thought projection, which is accusing someone else of what you do yourself, did not take place arbitrarily, but rather seized on and exaggerated an element that already existed on a small scale in the other person. False, as I told you about in this video about the actress in Kiev. She accused me of always wanting to have my way, whereas I always gave her the option to do anything, to do what she wanted to do, to go where she wanted to go. She always had the option, perhaps once, and I think that was after that date where she exploded, and where she accused me of always wanting to have my way. Whereas the only thing I did was I gave her a t-shirt. I had it made with a picture of Einstein on it, on the t-shirt, with the tongue out, as a way to counter the critics. Of course, I found out later that the critics were right about her. She was a very stupid person, but that is somewhat hidden by the fact that also this friend was with her several times, and she talked along with her, and then you start to believe some of her stories, in the sense that that's how you normally find out what is true or not, by look at different sources. In any case, let's see. Freud considered, this was the start, considered that in projection, thought, motivations, desires and feelings cannot be accepted as one's own, are dealt with by being placed in the outside world and attributed to someone else. This is already wrong, because projection, accusing others of what they do themselves, happens the more antisocial someone is. And the more antisocial someone is, especially such as most of all psychopaths, the less they do any introspection and self-criticism. They don't do that. Actually, what they do is they sometimes recognize their own issues, but they see them as positive. You see that, for example, in that cult NX-IVM. I'm not going to pronounce it as he wanted it. Keith Raniere. He said something about sociopaths, that they were important in society. No, they're not. They're destructive. These people also have, in NX-IVM, also have these books from Ayn Rand that they think are really good, blah, blah, blah. They have them on the shelves. No. Atlas Shrugged, for example, I did not read the book, thought it was too long, but I watched the film and I skipped a lot, and I thought, oh no, this is like the psychopath's Bible. It makes it look as if selfishness is good by making it appear as if that's needed for society and helps those who are less well off. It is possible in a way that someone strives for something, is selfish, creates a lot of money for himself with a business, and in doing so makes society better. But generally that's not the case. This is the Psychopath Bible, that book by Ayn Rand. It's just complete crap. Let's see. Some studies were critical of Freud's theory. Yes, it's nonsense, as I mentioned, as I know from experience, but I also deduced it from principles. Research on social projection supports the existence of false consensus effects, where humans have a broad tendency to believe that others are similar to themselves and just project personal traits onto others. They do not have a broad tendency to believe that others are similar to themselves. What happens is they apply their own thinking to others, because it's too much work to put yourself in the position of others all the time. You can't go all the time think, what would this person think? No, you don't do that. That's just not how life works. So this is incorrect. They project their personal traits because it is simpler to do so. It's just life. That's just how it works. This applies to good and bad traits. It's not a defense mechanism. That's correct. It's not a defense mechanism. As I mentioned, the woman in Kiev, she was not criticized, but she gave me these stupid criticisms about me, which were false. Actually, it was about her, but why is that? Why did she think about me that I want to have my way, whereas she always wants to have her way? What is said here explains it partially, but not quite totally, because it's also not correct. Which is, yeah, but psychology, it's like in the Middle Ages or something. The view that the people defensively project specific bad traits of their own onto others and means of denying that they have them is not well supported. It's not well supported because it's bullshit. You can deduce that from principles. It's simple. Idiots. These guys propose a new model of defensive projection, and this is also not correct, but it's not about being defensive, in which the repressor's efforts to suppress thoughts of their own their undesirable traits make those trait categories highly accessible. They do not suppress thoughts of their own undesirable traits because they do not see them as undesirable. They do not self-criticize. They do not introspect. The more they are antisocial, this most of all psychopaths, the less they do introspection and self-criticism. They don't do that at all. This, in a way, is correct. The more in which no. It's like the more you think about something, the more you use that to view the world. You view the world the way you think. This is how it works, and I can give you more details, but how it works and how to completely deduce how it works. But that's for my project. When I will publish it, it'll be clear, I think, to everyone how it works. Projection is only a byproduct of the real defensive mechanism. No, it's not a byproduct of the defensive mechanism, because there does not need to be any defensive mechanism at all. People just use certain things, their own thinking. Their own thinking is modified by impressions, comments from others, etc. But the main issue is they use their own thinking. They do not put themselves in the position of others. So if you don't have empathy, you will think like this. You will act like this. And autists also have this. And not because they don't care about other people, because they don't understand other people correctly. And you get the same things. I once had a exchange with a guy on DP Review. Yeah, I'll go back here. DP Review. Yeah, okay. It was a guy, it was about Samsung cameras, and he said, "Oh, well, seeing all the comments here, the Samsung cameras must be really great." And this was quite a few years ago, when Samsung brought out the NX1 camera, but not long after that they stopped with the full frame, or full frame, or no, it was APS-C, I think. And everyone thought he was trolling. And then he said, no, I'm really serious. I want to know why people are so positive about it. And then I made a comment about it, and I said, that's you're probably autistic. And the way I did it, I imagined myself in his position without emotions. I read his comments and I thought, oh yes, now I understand. He's telling the truth. And I will explain how that works also in my projects, how I emulate other people. But this guy then did exactly the same as antisocial people do. namely, he accused me of not understanding him, and therefore I am the the autist, which is of course nonsense because I understood him perfectly. I knew why happened what happened. So why do you think he accused me? Think about that. Okay, that's it for now. Bye.